what seems to be is to those to whom it seems to be. Welcome to Satori Mindset Podcast. My name is Yuki Yoshii, and this is your time, your moment to reflect on yourself, your life, and to integrate your journey to feel aligned, and to ultimately make the awakened version of you a default mode. So let's begin. Okay, today I want to talk about Neville Goddard's law of assumption. So some of you might be familiar with this, and I want to share my interpretation and the usage of the universal law of assumption. And it might give you a different point of view and how you can actually apply it into the day-to-day life. Law of assumption is basically the power and the energetics of your expectation. So whatever that you're expecting, it becomes true in your life, right? So assumption is being created in a subconscious level. We have subconscious assumption on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, right? Because we have the assumption of the day, assumption of the week, what week is, assumption of what month is, right? And we're operating rather mechanically, being trapped in that assumption until we examine and become aware of it. So that's the goal of this video. And the law of assumption is being used in the community, and those who are aware of and waking up into this idea of law of attraction. Law of attraction is when you are vibrating in a certain state, in a subconscious level in your body, which is the feeling, you attract based on how you're vibrating. So, we often talk about like a manifestation. I personally like the terminology creation or unfoldment, right? Because manifestation is a materialization in the observed world, right? You are able to observe using your five senses, and everything starts with from the mind by creating a picture, image of it, and being emotionalizing that so you can feel the emotion of it, and then you begin moving into action, and your action and the universe reaction will coincide to begin forming a materialization, manifestation of that which you first imagine and picture. That's the process of universal law of attraction. Now, how the law of assumption comes into play in this process is to begin examining your assumption. So let's say if you have something that you want in your life, right? That's where you begin the process of manifestation. Now, before you decide what you want in your life, you probably have things that you do not want, right? Oh, I don't want this. I want this to be a little bit different. And the want emerges out of not wanting something, right? And then we talk about in order to manifest what you want, once you decide and identify that you want something, you must stop wanting it, right? You must stop wanting it, because as long as you're wanting, you're in an energy feeling of the lack thereof. And the universe responds to the feeling inside of you. So the work that needs to be done inside of us between conscious mind and the subconscious mind is that you must begin nurturing and convincing that you already have it using your imagination, right? Then you're wanting move into already having feeling. And on already having feeling and you begin moving into action, the universe will feel that you are vibrating in that state, and you magnetize that which you are vibrating at to coincide the manifestation. Yeah. Now, what I found is that people practice that, and the doubt creeps in, right? And the doubt is the idea in the mind that you give attention to something that is not desirable, right? You begin doubting something, and you begin thinking about the possibility of the lack thereof of the desire, fulfillment of desire, right? That's how you cause the doubt to be existing experience in your body, right? And then the Tao creates an assumption of lack thereof. So you want something and you practice, imagination and a fulfillment of the desire, which fulfill is the language that Neville Goddard uses. I like to say fulfillment of the desire, right? You feel already that desire is being fulfilled in your imagination and the feeling of imagination. And we go out in the world and we start paying attention to the five sensory world and we encounter the absence of that which you want. And then you start thinking, oh, because I don't see in the physical world, in the realm, I might not get it. And the doubting mind start creeping in and the assumption begin forming to manifest the lack thereof. So then what happens is that the universe will deliver to you exactly what you end up asking. Does that make sense? So let's say if you set a timeline, oh, I want to manifest, I want to create something in this timeline by such and such a day. And then you start thinking, based on the past experience, based on the existing circumstance, based on what others have been telling me, maybe just in case I'm gonna come up with the second option, right? Now, when you come up with a second option, that's what you're assuming, right? You're wanting and you're kind of practicing the having, but then you're creating an assumption of just in case. And the universe will respond to you based on that just in case assumption because your subconscious and you are that much powerful. So the invitation that I have through this video is to really understand the mechanism of that and the tendency of the survival mind kind of getting caught into the absence of the evidence of sight means that you are visualizing, but you sort of get caught into that physical realm and you don't see that result that you're seeking and you start second guessing and you start creating another layer of assumption. You probably attempted to assume that you're already there, right? By practicing it. But then the outside interferes and you create a second guessing of the second layer of the assumption. And then, when that happens, you basically sending a signal to the universe to coincide with that second assumption and boom, you will not manifest it, right? So the law of assumption is so powerful and it's something that we want to examine all the time. And one of the saying related to the law assumption that I love sharing is this one. What seems to be is to those to whom it seems to be. What seems to be is to those to whom it seems to be. This is more of the underlying energetic tone of it, right? So do you feel like life is easy? Oh, this is a good one, right? Do you have this underlying assumption that life is easy and flowing? What seems to be is, if life seems to be easy for you, to those to whom it seems to be, it will be easy for you because it's seemingly that way for you based on the assumption, right? So life is hard or life is overwhelming or there's all kinds of challenging that, I don't know why something happens. A problem arises every single week, right? Or do you feel like, if you picture something, it's easy for you to manifest, right? That's an assumption. So what seems to be is to those to whom it seems to be. Do you feel a fundamental energy that life is wonderful? Do you feel like life is a lovely place? Or do you feel like there's a little fear out there, right? Probably there's a combination of both, but what are you paying attention to it, right? What's the lens that you're wearing? So you're giving energy to that thing that you want that life to be. And it becomes so. You can, think of different people in your life, and some people seems to be very happy all the time. Others seems to be frustrated or overwhelmed all the time, right? And I don't think that's based on their life circumstance, but because they have an identity that is overwhelming life becomes overwhelming by universe sending exactly what you're asking. If you begin identifying yourself as somebody who moves with ease and flow, life becomes so, mirroring who you are identifying yourself as. And what you're assuming yourself and what you're assuming life to be, that would reflect and it becomes so, right? So we want to sort of watch people's behavior, people's words that they're using, and what feels that person is perceiving life, right? The energy that you can feel from that person is based on the underlying assumption. So what I want to examine for you is what seems to be is to those to whom it seems to be. What is the life that you want to be living? And what is the assumption, underlying assumption that you want to be fundamentally forming about you, about life, about the world, so you can begin creating that kind of life based on the subconscious assumption that you are choosing. Welcome to Satori Mindset Podcast. My name is Yuki Yoshii, and this is your time, your moment to reflect on yourself, your life, and to integrate your journey to feel aligned, and to ultimately make the awakened version of you a default mode. So let's begin.